Welcome to the Help, I Have a Narcissist in My Life podcast. I'm Laurel Slade Wagoner. Episode 8, Don't Take the Bait. Refuse your narcissist baiting to engage tactics. I want to start out once again by saying that I mean absolutely no gender bias by the masculine tense used in this podcast with regard to the controllers and abusers, and feminine tense when referring to the victims of narcissistic control and abuse. Just ease and simplicity in listening. In my counseling practice, I meet with many men and women who have been victimized by a woman's narcissistic control and abuse. Narcissistic control and abuse does not discriminate based on gender. Its occurrence is based on victim availability, regardless of the gender. Okay, on to the podcast. My husband, who is wonderful by the way, is an avid fisher person. He has exposed me to a whole new hobby of excitement and avenue to seeing the creative beauty that lives in the ocean: saltwater fishing. There are so many intriguing species of fish that we have been blessed enough to catch. Fish with beautiful color, and each species with their own temperament and way of living. Given their uniqueness, if we are fishing for a particular species of fish, I've learned that there's quite a strategy behind it. And the biggest determinant in whether or not we catch the desired fish is the bait that we choose to use. I believe this is also true in the world of hunting. Just for the record, for you fellow lovers of anything that God created that has breath, I love the fish that we catch, to see and perhaps take a picture of. We catch them and then we quickly release them so that they can go about their business of just being fish. The Oxford English Dictionary defines bait as food used to entice fish or other animals as prey. Merriam-Webster describes it as something, such as food, used in luring, especially to a hook or a trap. The fish or animal that is enticed with a bait is vulnerable to becoming prey. It is in danger of being hooked or trapped, and being hooked or trapped usually leads to the creature's demise. If the fish or animal had been perceptive enough to recognize the bait for what it actually was, a hook or a trap, the creature could have resisted the bait and saved itself. Similar to accomplished fisher persons or hunters, controlling and abusive narcissists are masterful at the art of baiting, and they view others as prey. They use a myriad of tactics to lure their victims into engaging into their juvenile ways of interacting. The narcissists say and do things with intent in mind, the intent of eliciting emotional reactions from their victims. To them, negative attention is better than no attention. They get energized by the creation of chaos. If victims take the narcissistic bait, then they are setting themselves up for all kinds of trouble. Proverbs 26:4 states, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him." Narcissistic controllers and abusers want others to behave foolishly and lose their self-control. They want others to lose their sanity, and they want others to lose their strength. By doing so, it legitimizes their projections and makes others vulnerable to continued control and abuse. It also strengthens their narcissistic denial. If they can make others act crazy, then they themselves appear less crazy. I'm going to go over a narcissistic baiting cycle as I see it. First, the narcissists throw out the bait. They entice their victims to react. The victims do react. Sometimes they yell, name call, make extreme decisions. The narcissists call the victims crazy because of their reactions. Then the victims start to believe that they are crazy. They become exhausted and feel defeated. Then the victims start to feel regret and fear and guilt for reacting in a, quote, crazy way. Then the victims believe the narcissist's projected lies, that they are the crazy ones, because they acted a little crazy, which makes them vulnerable to further control and abuse by the narcissists. As you can see, nothing good comes from taking narcissistic bait. The end result for the victims is losing their sanity and strength. and a created potential for further control and abuse. So, what is this bait that narcissists cast out? Narcissistic bait comes in several varieties. I'm going to discuss a few of those varieties, as well as examples and recommendations on what to do should your narcissist attempt to bait you into engaging into his crazy. Bait number 1. Throws an unfounded accusation or several unfounded accusations at you out of nowhere. This leaves you struggling to defend yourself and flustered. By accusing, he is attempting to portray himself as the rational or responsible person and you as the irrational or irresponsible person. He is the victim and you are the villain. This is an enraging tactic. He is trying to enrage you through the accusations so he can then point out how crazy you are. Here's an example. An ex-husband accuses an ex-wife of malnourishing their children because she took them to Chick-fil-A for dinner one evening. He additionally accuses her of being a drug addict and sleeping all day because she took migraine medication and lay on the couch with the kids while watching a movie one afternoon. Recommendation? She can take deep breaths, not defend, dismiss his statements, and detach instead. When threatened with the accusations, it is best for her not to acknowledge them at all. Bait number 2. Hurting someone you love or damaging something that is important to you. This is a terror and retaliation tactic. He is trying to terrorize you into submission or punish you for a perceived grievance. An example? An ex-husband refused to comfort his daughter while she is crying about missing her mother. By refusing to comfort his daughter, her distress increases. He uses his daughter's distress to, quote, prove that his ex-wife's decision to divorce him is causing their daughter distress. And to him, the more distress the daughter experiences, the greater the evidence he has that his ex-wife's choice to divorce is causing their daughter to experience distress. Recommendation? She can take deep breaths, not defend, dismiss his statements, and detach instead. When faced with this sort of retaliation, it is best to discuss and problem solve with the daughter on how to feel better when she is sad and missing her mother. He is not going to console her. If the girl is still inconsolable and her narcissistic father continues to refuse her comfort, the mother can send him an email letting him know that the daughter is still struggling and give him the name of 1 or 2 parenting books that can assist him in consoling her. This provides evidence that the mother is a concerned and collaborative parent. If he still continues the hurtful behavior, the mother can call her legal services to see if they can send the father a letter. It will advise him that, due to his refusal to provide empathy and comfort when his daughter is in distress, a professional psychological evaluation on him is being requested. Additionally, she can ask legal to procure a parent coordinator and or a guardian ad litem to advocate on behalf of her daughter. This is a malignant narcissist with whom she is dealing. There is no reasoning with him. Any person who can purposely add to the distress of his own child in retaliation is full of evil and cannot be collaborated with. The mother is better off working directly with her daughter and legal entities if necessary. Bait number 3. Twisting you into an emotional wreck through shaming and personal attacks. It can be overt with direct insults or covert with implied undermining comments. This is a weakening tactic. If you're having to tend to your emotions by taking time and energy to recover from his toxic comments, then you have no emotional resources left to problem solve. He wants to get you into a particular state of mind, frazzled and feeling defeated, so that he can be free to control and manipulate the outcome of the circumstances. An example? An ex-husband repetitively tells an ex-wife that she is a lazy, mooching exploiter because she is a stay-at-home mom who is also homeschooling the children. Over time, his condemning and degrading remarks make her feel fear and guilt when asking him to pay the predetermined 50% of the expenses for the children's extracurricular activities. So guess what? She stops asking for the money, which is exactly what he wants. Recommendation: she can take deep breaths, not defend, dismiss his statements, and detach instead. In preparation for when he shames her, she needs to feed herself cognitive and emotional fuel. She can research the benefits of being a stay-at-home mom, as well as the benefits of homeschooling. She can also reach out to a supportive person in her life who aligns with her in these values. This will give her renewed perspective. Additionally, this support person could offer her additional unthought-of salutary benefits that result from her being a stay-at-home mom and from her homeschooling the children, which she can then articulate to her controller and abuser when she is being verbally assaulted. With regard to attaining the unpaid monies, she can continue asking the legally agreed upon reimbursement amount, but only twice, in writing. She can include a picture of the section of the parenting plan, which outlines the structure for reimbursement of extracurricular activities. If her narcissistic ex still refuses to pay and continues on with his degrading and shaming, she can contact her legal services and have them send him a letter reminding him of the parenting plan parameters and also letting him know that he will be held in contempt should he refuse to comply. Bait number 4, controlling by proxy. He tells another person something about you in hopes that it will get back to you so that it either enrages you, frightens you, or deeply saddens you. This is a control tactic. He is using another person as a proxy, a pawn, to elicit a strong emotion in you. An example: an ex-husband tells his teenage son the monthly amount of child support that goes to the teen's mom. He further states that the money is supposed to be going to the teen. When the teen returns from his father's house, he questions his mother as to why he isn't receiving the money, since his father gives it to her for him. Recommendation: she can take deep breaths, not defend, dismiss his statements, and detach instead. In this circumstance, the mother can work directly with the teen and explain what child support actually covers. For example, food, clothing, school supplies, a roof over his head, electricity, a car to take him places, gas, insurance, etc. She can research with her son average monthly living costs and show him how to formulate a budget. This will not only neutralize his narcissistic father's control, it will better equip her teen for adulthood. Bait number 5, keeps you locked in pursuit mode. He accomplishes this by, number 1, stonewalling, whereby he is either refusing to respond or giving you a yes answer and not following through, or 2, by creating chaos that necessitates attention from you. Anything to keep you pursuing him and perpetuate your attention coming his way. This is a power tactic to ensure that you keep giving him attention. The pursuit thrills his frail ego with the experience that he is in high demand. Examples. An example of stonewalling would be an ex-husband refusing to sign an authorization paper for his child to attend a class field trip. An example of creating chaos would be an ex-husband taking an ex-wife back to court year after year in an attempt to get the child support and alimony reduced, even when his income does not substantiate a reduction. An example of both stonewalling and creating chaos would be a divorcing narcissistic husband dragging out the divorce process by fighting over every little thing, such as fighting to unpack the child's backpack on the last day of school when all of the supplies and artwork come home, or fighting to take the child to school on picture day so that he can be in charge of choosing the child's outfit and hairstyle. Recommendation: she can take deep breaths, not defend, dismiss his statements, and detach instead. With all of these scenarios, the best course of action is delegating the dialoguing to an advocate. In the case of the class trip, the mother can delegate the responsibility for obtaining the signature from the father back to the teacher. In the case of legal proceedings, the mother can delegate the dialoguing to legal services. In short, the narcissists do not get what they are after: your personal reaction and your personal attention. The purpose of all narcissistic baiting is seeking attention and control. The general solution, no matter what type of bait your narcissist is casting, is utilizing the 4 Ds as stated in each of the recommendations. Deep breaths, don't defend, dismiss, and detach. Again, take a few deep breaths. Resist defending yourself. Dismiss his emotional darts by refusing to give it any acknowledgement, and detach yourself from trying to control your narcissist's behavior. Don't engage in crazy. Don't take the bait, precious listener. So a healing activity, write out on an index card the following and keep it somewhere that is easily accessible. Across the top in big letters, don't take the bait. Then underneath, the 4 Ds. Deep breaths, don't defend, dismiss, detach. Some power scriptures to keep in mind. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. Proverbs 26:4. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Matthew 7:6. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed. For those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. Psalm 37:8-9. It is to one's honor to avoid strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. Proverbs 20-3. I'd like to end with a prayer for all of you listeners. Oh, powerful Jesus, thank you so much for loving us, even when we are unlovable. Thank you for forgiving us when we behave foolishly and lose our self-control. Please help us to see all circumstances through your eyes. Please help us to recognize when we're being baited to engage in chaos or baited to emotionally explode. Please help us especially to resist taking narcissistic bait that could take away our sanity and strength. We invite you, oh powerful Jesus, to take over control when we feel out of control. I really invite you to take over control always. We love you and we desire to glorify you with all of our words and all of our actions. Please use all of our trials and struggles for your amazing glory and for our healing and to help others. Amen. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and leave a quick rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Email me directly at lslade4@verizon.net. That's LSLADE, the number 4 at verizon.net with your questions or topics that you would like addressed in the upcoming podcasts. As I stated in the introductory podcast, this podcast series is for you listeners, and I want to address the issues that you need addressed. I will incorporate your questions, as well as information from my book, Don't Let Their Crazy Make You Crazy, into the upcoming podcasts. If you have any questions about me, my services, or would like more information on my book, Don't Let Their Crazy Make You Crazy, How to Stay Sane and Strong When the Narcissist in Your Life is Trying to Control or Abuse You, please visit my website, slade-waggonercounselingservices.com. You can purchase the book in either paperback or ebook format on that website. Again, that is Slade, SLADE-Waggoner, WAGGONER, counselingservices.com. God bless.